Hello, it's turn 21, and I've decided to break my NAP with pyrene, so we're going to have our first combats on turn 23. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of swordsmen, with some crossbows and some of the cap sacreds that have halberds, but mostly just swordsmen. Actually, there's quite a few crossbows there, but never mind. So I need to explain why. So pyrene is doing pretty well. He's also kind of fighting these two people. They're noobs, so they're not much challenge for him, but it's a thing. Femini even might actually come through here to fight him. So kind of a 4 versus 1 coalition, theoretically, which is hilarious. But more importantly, these 3 players are all noobs who failed their expansions, so they cannot win the game. So there's only one other player besides me who can win the game, which is pyrene. So clearly I should attack him, or at least put my forces next to him to inconvenience him and force him to put a lot of troops in Anidra. Now, I'm going to be trying to get full vision over all of these provinces, so that I can tell whether he has like 90 cavalry ready to move into Anidra on turn 23 to defend against me with a PD jump. And if he does, then I won't be able to move into it, because my troops are actually quite a lot worse. But so the motive for this war is actually sort of strategic. It's not even about grabbing land necessarily. It's just about inconveniencing the main rival. And I might not even be able to advance against him, which would be a bit inconvenient, but hopefully it's inconvenient for him as well. It'll be embarrassing for me to just declare war and just sit my army. But that's kind of the logic when there's only one other person who can win. It's a bit different from a true free-for-all. What else is there to say? Well, I'm not having much luck with my blood hunting. I made some dowsing rods. Oh yeah, I need to talk about actually fighting him. So here's his sacreds. Very good stats all around. With Blood Surge up, he has 18 defense skill. He also gets some extra damage and attack skill from Blood Surge and +2 attack in his Bless. So he will be killing these guys quite consistently, and certainly these guys, but even these guys will be dying fairly consistently to those sacreds, which is quite a concern. Because it's 13 attack skill versus 17 or 18 defense skill. And that's why I said what I said about Anidra. So I have to be careful to take good trades. As for magic, I don't really want to bring mages to the table because I'm only just getting started on my research. I think the 2 things I want to do in terms of magic would be maybe teleporting my Pretender God in if I find an unprepared stack, and then actually she can run away using returning once I have Thaumaturgy 2, which is earlier than teleporting. And teleport gems would be useful to support that as well. The other thing is I could bring in some Fire 2 mages, or even Fire 1s, to cast Nest of Salamanders. I think that's quite good. Because I feel like I can't, this is so many troops, I feel like I can't effectively buff it with mages, because the buff spells are pretty small area, like Body Ethereal and Furious Warriors mainly. They're pretty small area, and the other thing I would like to do is cast Hal. So I'm prophetizing this guy. I'm not really sure if... I don't actually know who I should be prophetizing. It doesn't really matter even. And I'll have some Lizard Shamans so they can communion up and cast Hal. It'll take a few more turns to research that. So that's my thinking. If you look at also in terms of resistances, so the enemy Caponi Sacreds have fire resistance. High MR, they have cold resistance. So the only things I can do are lightning damage, poison damage, and stuff like Hal that's summoning units. Hopefully to kill his backline mages eventually. So that's my thoughts. That's turn 21. Toodles. Hello, chaps. It's turn 23. Bing Shilao here to tournament, and look, big battle, possibly. So I screwed up and I didn't put a scout on Haloma, and with this road between these 2 provinces, that means anything in Haloma could be moving into Anidra, although maybe not swordsmen. Swordsmen in that province probably can't make it, but these guys can. So I'm still going to go ahead and attack into Anidra rather than just sitting on my hands, because while I don't know how much he has in Haloma, there isn't really any reason he would have stuff there, because he would just move it into Wayward. Okay, so this is a bit, and I can't ping this stuff because it's in a fort, but so I couldn't ping it. He does have a Cambion Queen, at least one. So it's but this stack here can't make it in time, except the Knights can. The Knights probably can't actually. What's the movement speed from plains into a swamp? Do I have a swamp? I've got a swamp, right? swamp and mountains. It always has to be... What is this combo shit? It makes it so confusing. And this looks like a swamp, but it's plains. Okay, this is a swamp, and here's plains and fucking mountains next to it. This is so fucking annoying. Can I just have an example, please? Okay, so 15, because that's an enemy province. Shit, man, this is so annoying. So, I wish they would give you fucking in-game notes. Plains and forest. Plains and forest. Fucking hell, man, that's so annoying. Can these guys walk over here into an Idra? Cambion Knights. What's the move? Map move over Cambion Knight. 16 map move. Oh, is it cold? It's cold there as well. Okay, it's cold in both two of these provinces. So I'm going to say that they can't get from an Idra into from Evoker into an Idra. These guys also can't, and that's quite a lot of them. So it's really these guys that are going to be defending an Idra, and it just doesn't look like there's very many of them. Meanwhile, so he can do a PD dump, he can show up with a bunch of mages and whatever is in the stack, and his Cambion Knights are very good compared to me, but I don't think he's going to show up, because I just have 477 troops coming. And he saw explicitly this amount of them, 302. So that's that. I guess there won't be a big battle this turn. As you can see, I've scripted everything to attack rear, except for like this group on hold and attack flyers for... I just never like to not have that. Then I've got bodyguards on all these guys. They have fairly good morale, which is nice. And these guys have very good morale when they're bodyguarded, so probably we aren't going to get reamed by a succubus or incubus. It would be succubuses, wouldn't it? In fact, it's turn 23, so theoretically you could have trained a couple of succubuses, left them in wait in Parnia, and now when I invade here in Anidra, he might actually bank on several of my commanders going AWOL due to the succubuses, leaving all the troops stranded, and leaving half the troops then fighting without the backup. But then I would only be losing half the troops anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that's enough on that score. As you can tell, I'm not bringing any majors at all, and the reason for that is what are they going to cost? I don't have that much research. I don't have that many gems, or at least I guess I do have gems, but I don't want to cancel my research. I don't even, like, fire mages would be casting Nest of Salamanders, which I don't have yet. I don't have Twilight for the Glamour mages. I don't have whatever the fuck this is, or whatever good spells, group luck, you know. I don't actually have the spells yet, so and no avocation at all. And look at all this. I have to get Thaumaturgy to teleport the god around, Conjuration 4 for Strength of Gaia, because I think that will make her slots easier to fill. Oh, and I should give her I'm going to put her on Advancing Cast, and I'm building a lab so that she can be equipped next turn. And I've decided on my full outfit, which I'm forging this turn. Now, ideally, her outfit would include several nature 2 items, like a Ring of Regen would probably be good if you can fit it in there. Certainly a Vine Shield or a Shield of Eye Vengeance would be very good. So that's at least 2 different ones. I'm going to type that up in my little notes now. Vine Shield, Shield of Vengeance. What's the other one? Regen Ring. So those were ones that I'm not forging this turn. I'm forging everything while the Pretender, because I just don't have time for her to forge stuff. I might want to teleport her next turn. So what am I giving her? Well, there's 2 things really. There's 3 things. Firstly, she needs to be able to face tank a bunch of the Cambion Knights, because I don't need her help to fight other stuff. So it's all about face tanking the Cambion Knights. Now, they do not have magic weapons, so personal regen, body ethereal, personal iron skin, summon earth power to not fall asleep, and then something else like this could be good, except that it's not early in the script, so she might get interrupted anyway by the lance charge. It might come through in time. It could be good, but and it also has a chance of being dispelled. Enlarge is kind of decent. Oh, it's actually very good. 30%. I actually forgot, because you don't think of going from 9 to 10 as being that important, but wow, 30% extra HP. That's very interesting with the regeneration. But I think it's more important to do something like Temper Armors, +3 protection. So in combination with body natural protection from Iron Skin, I think this could be very important. +3 protection to all armor parts. So I might actually script Temper Armors. I honestly don't know. I mean, there's only 5 spell slots, and Mistform, Temper Armors, and Flying Shield, and Temper Flesh, if I had the research for it, would all be good. There's also Astral Shield, so I'm actually planning on putting her on Advancing Cast spells. She's got too many spells she can cast. That's the problem. She has fire resistance and shock resistance. I'm not sure. Fire resistance is from this, and we don't need it against pyrene anyway. Shock resistance could be very, very necessary against pyrene, so that's nice that she has that inbuilt. And her defense skill is good against the Cambion Knights, but that will get harassed down. And then the this repel is actually quite interesting. I don't think it will work unless she has the Eye Vengeance shield to blind them, and then she can start repelling. So from maybe just from the owl, or maybe from one of those items you can equip that does repel. Anyway, I need to tell you what I'm actually going to do. So my plan to survive the Cambion Knights is firstly, maybe I just need to avoid going into too much enemy dominion, or even stay in my own dominion. So I have to be a bit careful with where I teleport her. But teleporting does mean I won't necessarily have to fight the entire army. But anyway, so I need to... Shit, I'm rambling so much, but... Okay, she needs to survive the Cambion Knights, kill the Cambion Knights as well, which is kind of optional. It would be okay to just make them rout from the fear after like 70 turns or something. But of course, you know, if you kill them, then you don't have to survive for 100 turns, which makes it a bit easier. And so, okay, here's the first part, is how do we kill them? They don't have poison resistance. So this is how I'm going to kill them, with the poison cloud. I think it's very good. And because she has the poison, I don't think it's a good, even with regen, it's probably a bad idea to poison herself, and it's probably also bad to cram in a poison resistance buff. Although, let me actually remind myself. Does Strength of Gaia give poison resistance? No, it only gives 4 different things. How sad. So yeah, I'm making the Astral Serpent. It will kill them inherently. It's armor negating, so it's extremely good. And it does give the +5 poison resistance. So it's kind of doing 2 things, neither of which is very good. But I found so basically I found an item that gave me the poison resistance without being useless. It's not only poison resistance, it gives me a little bit extra. So Snake Bladder Stick and Astral Serpent should actually kill them fairly swiftly. Boots of the Messenger, just so she doesn't fall asleep. Nothing to explain there. All these other boots are dog shit, so, you know. Helmet, Dragon Helmet. I mean, there's no non-generic helmet options right now at Construction 5, so I'm just going to go with the Dragon Helmet because it has Dark Vision, just in case I want to operate in the caves. And of course, she is actually in the caves right now, but no one else is in the caves. It's quite weird, actually. Turn 23 and literally no one else is in the caves. I mean, I guess Pyrene was too busy bullying his... This is only 3 provinces away from your capital, you lazy sod. Meanwhile, this one's 4 provinces away from mine. Curious. He's been too busy bullying people, and they've been too busy being incompetent. So what am I making after Dragon Helmet, Snake Bladder Stick, Astral Serpent, the Shield? Now, again, at Construction 5, there's basically 2 choices. I can either make a fire... this thing. Actually, I think I will actually make this thing. You know, the mirror is interesting, but I think I actually cannot justify doing that because... and why is that? It's because if I make the mirror of this thingy, then... So the shield choice, basically, there's 2 things. So if I make the fire shield, it will kill off warrior illusions, and that will protect the Pretender God from warrior illusion span, which would threaten to eventually kill her with false damage. So, I really don't want to have to... I'm actually not going to forge an Amulet of Clarity. It's too lame. Am I making a Girdle of Might? There we are. So, I'm not going to make the Fire Shield, and I'm not going to make the Amulet of Clarity, which reduces false damage by 2 per turn. And the reason, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, I'm making an Armour of Meteoric Iron as my main choice, because it has the highest protection, and it also gives 3 magic resistance. So it helps against the Cambion Knights, and it also helps against any warrior illusions or glamour magic in general. And I think that is what I'm going to lean on. The other consideration is that, yes, the Fire Shield would totally demolish the warrior illusions, and the Poison Cloud from the Snake Bladder Stick won't hurt them at all because they have 25 poison resistance. However, the Astral Serpent can actually kill them. Maybe it won't hit them, which is a bit of a concern, but 2 times per round, so... yeah, I mean, if she's an enemy dominion, she'll have like 17 MR and then 20 MR from the Armour of Meteoric Mail, and you know, I'm choosing this fight with her, so I could see the Glamour Mages coming and script. It's a bit lame to script it. No, I wouldn't script it. I'm just gonna... I'm so indecisive, actually. I think though... And the Mirror of Lost Battles... Oh, the Mirror of Lost Battles could also help a bit. I don't actually know what this mirror does. That's a bit of a concern that I don't know what it does. And it's 2 encumbrance, whereas This is only 1 okay. Yeah, I just realised there's no actual reason to go for the mirror. It's better to just go for the fire shield, especially since it's lower encumbrance. And because there's so many buffs to cast, I'm going to leave her on advance and cast. So without her reinvigoration bless, she will be at, let me just alter my notes, fire shield 1 encumbrance. Okay, so we're going to be at 6 encumbrance from the gear. Then we're going to get 3 reinvigoration from the boots, 7 from summon earth power, but you can't 100% assume that you won't get interrupted by imps or something. Shit, where's summon earth power? Okay, I did script it. 7 versus 6, that doesn't really leave much room for spell casting, so I am going to make the Girdle of Might as my other miscellaneous option. So in a very disorganized way, I've just ranted through my entire list of items. So just to reiterate, it's going to be a dragon helm being forged by this chappie over here. No, that's a Ring of the Warrior. Why am I making a Ring of the Warrior? It's a fucking stupid idea. Okay, dragon helm. Let's go through it systematically. Dragon helm. There's no non-generic. This is a generic choice, but at least it has dark vision. I could have gone for the Gore helmet. This thing. In fact, I still might. Dark vision, attack and defense malus. The question is, can she actually? I think attack and defense malus is probably bad because I'm undecided. They're pretty high because her fear might enable her to repel them a bit, especially if it's comboed with blindness. But then I don't have the blind, so I'm actually doing protection tanking. In which case, the attack and defense skill malus is not important. Killing them a bit faster is important. I'm actually just going to make both of those, except then I might have to trade for nature gems, but that's not so bad. Anyway, so I'll have both helmets available in case I change my mind. The weapon I'm pretty certain of, because like I said, they have the only other alternative would be a lightning spear, but I just think the poison cloud is just extremely excellent damage compared to the lightning spear, which is still just 1 target per turn, and you have to hit it, and they do have very good defense skill. So snake bladder stick I think will be exceptionally good. Fire shield, like I said, it's just gives you that peace of mind against the warrior illusions, and there's not really much else to go with it. The Mirror of Long Lost Battles would be good in like smaller engagements. In fact, I'm not even sure when that is good, because smaller engagements you don't need it on an SC, and it's quite expensive. So it's quite a curious option. I guess it would be good for SC versus SC. Then it would be very useful. But we're not doing that because he's got an imprisoned pretender. So fire shield, and then the armor is going to be meteoric iron, just because I don't have. I can't rely on attack and defense skill to protect me here without the blinding shield, so I do need to just go straight for the MR is useful. Maybe I'm not making an amulet, am I? No, I'm not making an amulet. I'm making a fire shield. So maybe I don't need the MR. I don't need the MR from this armor. So I could optionally go for. So I'm currently making 23 for 5 encumbrance, right? My other option is 24 for 4 encumbrance. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? I think that's an interesting choice, except this is... Well, firstly, I don't actually have the available earth gems necessarily. I sort of do. I'd have to reassign the hammer or something. But, okay, so I can make... I don't know, it just feels kind of crappy. This is pretty based. It's a pretty cool item. Let's have a look at the other options. So this is 20, so it's quite a lot worse. It does give me shock resistance against, in case he tries that, but I can probably see that kind of mage support coming. 24, it's +1 protection with less encumbrance. So I'm... 3 magic resistance? Do I want 3 magic resistance or an armor that is just straight up better for protection and encumbrance? I mean, there are other spells that could be quite bad, like Bloodburst is not MR negates. My goodness. This is just... goodness. I forgot how good the spell was. 11 armor negating damage. Wow. So no, we don't need MR for that. Bleed, we can probably negate it. It's not very efficient, so we don't care about bleed. Wow. Bloodburst is pretty terrifying. I thought only Leech was good. Did they change it in Dominions 5? So yeah, wow. I always thought that Leech was when your blood hunters were able to just destroy 25 armor negating damage. Meanwhile, this... Oh, it does take 2 slaves, though. So you can't cast it with blood ones. Okay, it's quite inconvenient. Well, you can cast it. So what do I actually need? What do I actually need MR against? Something like Steel Sight, but no, that's 6th level research. Ephemeral Bolt. Armor negating false damage with MR negates on it. It's pretty spooky. That's pretty spooky, actually. Imagine if he has a lifelong to clog my pretender up forever. Shit, lifelongs. What do I do if he has a lifelong protection? A single lifelong protection could absolutely ruin me. Do I even need the shield? What's the shield doing? I was thinking maybe I should make a Frostbrand against a lifelong protection. It's pretty terrifying stuff. How do I fight imps? Do I need to make a Frostbrand right now against the imps? I mean, I can't cover every base at once, but that might be pretty necessary. I might do Frostbrand and replace the shield with the Frostbrand. At least she would have 2 attacks then, so that would help clearing out warrior illusions, maybe, unless they're to the side of her and she's sitting right in front of her. Oh, she can clear them out with Shockwave. Yeah, she'll just be casting Shockwave. Yeah. I'm going to go with the Armor of Meteoric Iron, I think. Except, what spells? I need to justify to myself why I'm making an Armor of Meteoric Iron. I guess it's I don't need it really against the Warrior Illusions because we've got the Fire Shield. I do need it against Ephemeral Blast. Yeah, I think this is my excuse for... This is my excuse for making the Meteoric Iron. Yeah, it's basically just this spell that is my excuse. Ephemeral Blast and Ephemeral Bolt and, like, some other stuff here. This is presumably... Oh no, she would wake up from being hit. So it's... Maybe I should go for the Black Steel Full Plate, but I think I'll go for that. And I've rambled long enough. So that's my outfit. Snake Bladder Stick, Fire Shield, Dragon Helmet, Meteoric Iron, Armor, Girdle of Might, Boots of the Messenger, and the Astral Serpent. And also she's going to be on Advance and Cast, so she is going to be casting Shockwave. How does that change things? If she's casting Shockwave, then I don't really need... I could actually get rid of the Snake Bladder Stick, but I feel like the Snake Bladder Stick will be good anyway. How much reinvigoration do I have? So 6 encumbrance, and I'll have 6 reinvigoration from items, plus 4 from the spell, from Summon Earth Power, and then Shockwave, which I do think she will choose to spam quite a lot. Once I actually research that, which I haven't. Do I need enchantment? I'm getting enchantment for... Yeah, I don't really need these spells so much. I'm actually going to make sure that I research Shockwave. And I'm not going to research this, because this is lame. I'm going to research this. And this is 10 fatigue cost at Air 2, but she's Air 3, so it's 5 fatigue cost. While she has quite good... She has 4 extra reinvigoration. Or maybe she could even spam this fatigue neutral, except that the spellcasting encumbrance is different, isn't it? No, it's actually the same in this case. What actually is the difference between spellcasting encumbrance and normal encumbrance? Does it double... Twice the normal armor encumbrance. Okay, so I guess that includes shields, right? So she would be at 6 encumbrance. Oh no, 2 basic. -1. Shit, there's so much shit going on. So she'll be at 1 plus 6. What the fuck is this, man? Spellcasting. Why is spellcasting? Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. We've got this. fatigue is not doubled. Ah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I just love this chassis. This is such a ridiculous Titan. All the other Titans in the game are dog shit, and then you have one that comes with ready-made armor and a spear and a little familiar for repel, and fear, and combat caster, and 3 basic paths. It's so... I wish every other Titan was like this. It's so lame that they're not like this. So forget about that. The spellcasting encumbrance is going to be 6. Which I guess that does get added to the 5 of the Shockwave spellcast. So she's not going to be able to fatigue neutrally cast it. Although if you spellcast, then that would mean you're not actually attacking in melee. So it would just replace the melee encumbrance. So she would have 3 + 3 + 4, which is 10 encumbrance. And I think you have 1 encumbrance, like you have 1 reinvigoration. So she would have like 4 + 3 + 3, which is 11 reinvigoration in total, because you have 1 that's not stated, that's automatic. And then her casting of Shockwave would be 6 + 5. So she could actually just stand still in one spot, casting Shockwave, and probably at about 40 fatigue after all the self buffs, which is not so bad. So I think this is very good. I think that's enough for this turn. Looks like Femini took my suggestion of buying or taking Carney's plane off Pan. I suggested that he do that in order to attack pyrene. So actually pyrene is facing a 4 versus 1 coalition, which is pretty crazy, because that it even includes Femini, that I've expanded so close to. Maybe I should sell him these 2 provinces, but I don't actually need to, so I'm not going to. Yeah, he's facing. He did attack 2 players, and it's reasonable that I would intervene. But then Femini as well is just hilarious. I guess it makes sense for Femini. If Femini attacks me, considering how weak he is, he might actually have a fairly bad time. And I could just teleport the Pretender over, which would be helping pyrene, and then it would just smash Femini's force. So Femini actually can't attack me. Whereas if he attacks pyrene, he can either attack me and face about 1/3 of my forces, or he can attack pyrene and face it's going to be 15% of his forces, because most of his forces are going up against me. And of course, Jomon and Pan don't really have a choice. They have to fight pyrene because he attacked them. So this is looking weirdly amazing for me on the Diplo side. I did communicate in a helpful and friendly way with all 3 other players, which pyrene rather funnily didn't in the Jomon case. But so I guess I've accidentally set up a 4 versus 1 coalition, which is quite funny. Because I don't think of myself as a huge Diplo player. I mean, I try not to break my word, and I do quite like discussing things and suggesting things. So maybe I am a Diplo player, but I'm really here for the wargaming. So there you go. Sometimes I like to backstab people and gang up on them, and I play like a coward in that sense. And maybe this is an example. But Prim brought it on himself. So that's turn 23. Pyrene. Hello chaps, it's turn 24, and I had to delete the first time I made this recording because I used too many slurs. I got overexcited. Although nothing's actually happened this turn. So Enidra, there was no battle in Enidra because Pyrene was a turn too late getting himself set up here, so he didn't establish a blockade there. But for my part, I'm quite certain that by the way, Jomon is taking a main, so I'm not. But for my part, I'm quite certain that I'm a bit too late to go in here. I mean, I do have 473 troops, so maybe I could therefore take on 210 troops. It's quite possible, actually. So I am pinging this province with Scout, but I just don't really need to. But the really exciting thing that I'm doing is, so take a look at Lachien. It has been pinged by a Germanese, I guess he's a Jap, a Germanese mage at my behest, at my request even. And Jomon also informs me that there are currently 4 candles here. Although there is a prophet here, so we did see exactly what this stack was, but the prophet showed 3 candles because the candles are from last turn in this battle replay. But so anyway, what is the point here? So the point here is no gems, no blood slaves, and no items on the commanders. It's just a whole bunch of troops plus a prophet. So the prophet can cast Divine Smite, and there's a couple of mages who can cast mostly glamour spells. And what does that mean? Well, it means, even though there's 4 candles here, we're going to teleport the Tendi on top of it, Kim Yo-jong, the incredibly attractive North Korean woman who I want to step on me and possibly execute me. Now, this is not an entirely perfect setup, because I do have her scripted to cast Personal Iron Skin, which gets rid of the shock resistance. And then she's almost certainly going to be casting Shockwave off script, occasionally hitting herself for about 15 damage. I can't look at it yet because I have it researched, so let's look at it here. It's occasionally 15 damage, it's really only 9, but you know, this is not perfect, because in 4 candles she'll only have about 53 HP or something like that. Yeah, 53 I think it is, because you get +2 from experience. And but the point is, you know, those troops, the only real damage, well, there's 2 types of damage. There's the spells, right? There's the spells. So in 4 Candles of Energy Dominion, she'll have 18 magic resistance with this armor on. And thank God I made this mirror armor and not the, whatever this is called, meteoric armor, and not the full plate that would have given me. No, I'm so fucking tired. I was trying to sleep, and this animal was growling next to my bed, so I got up and made this video. What was it called? A possum. I'm in Australia, so it was a possum. Very annoying. Although I'm actually glad that I wake up when animals make growling noises next to my bed, so at least I'm not totally spastic and defenseless creature, you know. So, what's my point here? So yeah, there's 2 ways of killing my Titan. One is physical damage from troops, but the troops just don't have enough damage. So here's 25 protection. It gets boosted up to 32 by this spell, and also body ethereal. So then you look at here, look at the troops. The piercing on these guys. So they bypass 5 of the protection because they're piercing. So it's about 27 protection versus they also dodge body ethereal, but I still have 5 more armor than these chaps have damage. So they're not really a threat. And then the Cambion Knights actually are basically worse off. Yes, they're 3 less damage, and it's only piercing to begin with, and the lance will probably miss. It'll probably. I guess it's a bonus from the combat speed. I don't actually know exactly how the bonus damage is limited to half the strength, and it depends on both the combat speed and size, with no formula stated. So that's quite annoying. Half the strength. So 6 damage, 25. So, you know, they might get some damage in, but they'll mostly sort of miss because of the body ethereal. So 9 times whatever the fuck, it's not really going to kill, even if it doesn't get repelled or well, it won't get repelled, but you could get repelled by the owl. Repelled or hit defense skill or armor. So I don't think. It's quite interesting actually. Assuming they get through the body ethereal, and assuming it's +6 damage, 25 piercing damage. Yeah, it's just actually slightly less than the 27 protection I have even against piercing. So yeah, it's not really going to do much. It's not going to do much at all. So neither of these troops are, and then you have these chaps. They do have more damage. They do have 24 damage consistently, but they'll probably get repelled a bit. And also, you know, again, this is just body ethereal, and it's not piercing, so it's 24 damage versus 32 protection. So that really leaves the Cambion King and the Cambion Count casting clever evocations to do false damage, which again it just won't do anything because we're going to be teleporting in with a cool 18 magic resistance. But I'm also scripting Iron Will, so it'll actually be 22 magic resistance. And the last threatening thing to my Titan will be that the Prophet is here, and he will actually be quite spooky. Let me remind me, who actually is the Prophet? The Prophet is the Prophet. Okay, the Prophet's Glamour 1, so we've got a Glamour 2 and a Prophet to deal with. Now, the Prophet. The reason I'm quite spooked about the Prophet and did script magic resistance, I'm very glad I got the meteoric, is because it could be a death prophet. It could also be a blood prophet, and so they would really screw you up if they pass the MR check. So I'm just hoping. So if I didn't boost this beyond 18, then it would be quite spooky. Because I think standard MR check is against 11 or something, so they'd have like a 5% chance to inflict like a fatigue or in the case of death, and a sort of 5 times 5 sort of 0.2% or something chance to insta kill with the death. And also a 5% chance if it's blood to cause a chest wound. And the chest wound is very bad because I'm not going to blither on about encumbrance, but suffice to say, she's got this, and she's cast a summon earth power. So if she doesn't get the summon earth power off, but she probably will because she's got combat caster, so any damage only has a 12% chance of interrupting, and not much damage is going to come through anyway. And she'll probably get the summon earth power off to cast spells. But chest wound would be extremely bad. So I don't actually know which smite he has. So that's but as long as she doesn't die, she will clear out this pyrene stack pretty quickly because she's got the snake bladder cloud. Or alternatively, if she's not attacking with the snake bladder stick, she will be doing shockwaves. And both of those are an awful lot of damage. There's also some damage coming in from the astral serpent. The diplomatic situation. So according to some diplo between Pan and Pyrene, which Pyrene actually posted in the chat after yeah, but apparently Pan has made a peace deal with Pyrene, which is not ideal, but Jomon is making some ground here, and Femini's also laid siege there, so you know, the most interesting thing, though, more than the terrain, is actually the level of butthurt. So, BHS, username, the Pyrene player, says, I've never had an all versus one before. Let's see if you all are as clever as you seem to think you are. And I really don't know who is being clever, because the other three guys are noobs, and then there's me, and, you know, I'm too based in schizo to bring a single mage with my troops, which is not very clever. And then I've got this thing going on, but you know, he doesn't know I'm about it. And I sent him this message, so I don't think I'm clever. I don't think I am. I'm just going to be extremely smug. But it's not really about being clever, it's about trolling. Another example of trolling is that this province has 1 PD, probably. I actually don't know. But if you attack 1 PD, Pyrenian PD, with 3 scouts on fire, I believe there is a chance that they can destroy the PD, thus flagging the province. Which means there'd be no retreat route for these guys. So that would be very funny, so that's why I'm doing it. Back to this, so I think I've rambled on about the particular situation there. Is my army probably can't move forward here. These guys are sort of being insipid. But, you know, the important point is that Pyrene has lost about 4 provinces up here. He's also been flagged there, which is mildly inconvenient. I'm not being attacked by Femini. Jomon has all these troops that eventually will get brought over. I mean, they're not good, but what are they like? So, Jomon, I think fucking possum waking me up in the middle of the night. Go Hatamotos and Masters. Hatamotos. So it's these guys. Oh, they're actually quite good. I mean, they do die terribly easily, but this is quite good actually. This is exactly the sort of weapon you want against the Pyrenian cavalry. So it's like an armored barbarian, which is basically, you know, we actually have good troops against these Pyrenian. Anyway, so I'm not going to attack here because I just don't really need to. I want to research something. Well, you know, Pyrene. Maybe it's possible I should actually attack here because. But I have to assume that he's just bringing everything he can possibly bring. And if you look on the map, I think at this point I actually have more territory than Pyrene. I'm also about to massively cuck him here. And that's quite nice. I don't really need, this would be very good, but I don't actually need to win that hard. I feel like I've taken 2 provinces off him, maybe 3 with this funny thing here. I've allowed the noobs space to regain about 10 provinces off him. And now if you look at him, he's still big, but he's beleaguered. We've sort of put him in check. We know what he's doing. And I'm also quite big, including a couple of provinces taken off him. I think I'm the same size as him, really. And not only that, but I had this, so I think I might actually be larger than him. So that means I don't have to attack here and be risky. It's kind of on him to do that. So yeah, I would like to do stuff here. But I'm making some morale items. I'm going to. So one of these chaps says, oh, that reminds me actually. I'm making all 3 morale items for this guy. But you know what would be better than all 3 morale items would be what would be better than that? It would be even better if he could defend himself. If he could defend himself. So against being ruined, taken away and raped by a succubus. So I could do this. It doesn't give morale though. I could do this. Feeble-minded. Now I think if you're feeble-minded, I believe you can still cast item spells. I'm not actually sure. But my plan is that I want at least one little guy who will ruin, who will just ruin these succubi. So I think I'm actually going to make this, which spawns warrior illusions. Oh, hang on, now that's 2 misc slots. So I don't know if that's good actually. No, but this thing is cheap though. This slave collar is cheap. So I could put some slave collars, and then they might die to the succubus. Maybe my gamble here is that the bodyguards, the royal guards, will fight the succubi, and then I don't even know if he has succubi, but I don't want to get caught out. So I'm going to make a couple of slave collars. It's not perfect defense, but it just means that these chaps won't get seduced. And then maybe I actually could attack Waywards. Oh yes, so maybe I should attack Waywards. I'm just going to ping it first, which gives him an extra turn to prepare, but nothing's perfect. And I might, after that, I might actually... maybe I should make some... Maybe I should go all out and make some warrior illusion items. I just feel like this battle is so big that it would be 5 warrior illusion items. I could even make 6 of them, but I feel like it wouldn't be terribly 6 per turn. I don't know if that would really work. I mean, we'll pick. I think I'll just make the decision later, because the thing is, because of this, I feel like he's going to feel the time pressure and I'm not, because he's not getting this fort if my pretender god wins, which I think she should. I didn't see why she would lose. And I am making some priests. The priests can revive her if she dies. They can also then research instead of being totally useless. 135 gold for a 1-path mage. That sacred is not totally disastrous because the sacred reduces the upkeep cost. And I did lose this province. I lost a laboratory, a temple, an in-construction palisades, a mage, and a priest, and an independent commander down here, and 20 PD. So that was terribly inconvenient, especially since I can only really reconquer it by sending my Tendi, and also I was going to get loads of site searching done, and also it would be +1 magic, so it would boost all my researchers. So that was terribly unfortunate. But I think we will just teleport the Pretender God back here to solve that issue. There's a bit of gossip. Oh yeah, so BHS, the pyrene player, says he's never had an all versus 1 before. And then Ravenhaft, the Pangea player, posts a gif of the dwarf Gimli saying, "And my axe." And then VHS username goes on this rant about how, for the record, Ravenhaft and I have a nap 6. That makes this technically only a 3v1, but on the other hand, he's totally collaborating, so I'm counting it. If he does invade in violation of the nap, though, I'll spend every resource I have left. Every resource he has left, he's barely lost anything, and unless Femini BTFO'd him here, which is possible. Spiting him, I'm going to spite him, and you all should definitely break all truces with him immediately. You don't break naps early, and you don't trust people who do. I hope that was just me misreading that meme, though. So, And then he copy-pastes him and Pan's agreement in DMs. So he's copy-pasting people's DMs all the time, where they agreed to this nap 6. So, he's just a very butthurt, try-hard kind of player. So it would be very funny if this guy, who has an imprisoned cavalry stat bless and scales, and he's put little mages with his troops. It'd be very funny if that sort of normie try-hard, imprisoned stat scales player gets absolutely giga raped by a based and red-pilled, full-path, Titan Expander Schizo like me. And I do think it's funny. People are dying, and I think it's funny. And I don't put any mages with my army either. So that fucking possum, wake me up. Turn 24, toodles, see you next time.